Check, check. All right, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Yes, it is the first loss of the season for Atlanta United. And yes, it is through unfortunate circumstances for sure that has happened. But yes, man, like that defense just looked really, really bad going into the match, where on paper, man, you wonder if we had the goods. Turned out we didn't. But yeah, let's give some shouts out to the people that are in here early. Kamek says, YNWA, you never walk alone. Calamitous back line today. Dudes tackling each other in our own penalty box. Dallin Hammond is in here as well, only in the second half. First half, we look great. LexZone6 says, what defense indeed. Yeah, get your comments in the chat. We will read them out. But yeah, whew, not a good away day for Atlanta United for sure. Not exactly what we had in mind, but one of the best defenses in the league last year, Charlotte. And yeah, they only bolstered their attack as well. Pep Biel, Wilfred Zaha, and yeah, both of them, unfortunately, were dangermen in this match to really cause some damage against us. But yeah, it's one of those matches where, I mean, it's kind of reminiscent a little bit of our last match where okay, yeah, we're doing pretty decent in attack. We're creating chances in the box, but ultimately our defense shipping 2 goals. And Matthew Edwards doing quite well against Zaha in the first half, bodying him even, and you know, essentially getting him that upset that he gets pushed. But the second half was a completely different story. Yeah, the company of the head coach allowed them to make some adjustments, and we didn't. And I think that was the difference. But Alex Winberg says, I'm deflated. You and me both, for sure. But yeah, we'll bring on Mark here soon as well to essentially break down this with us. But yeah, we'll get him in here soon. But yeah, I mean, it's just like one of these things that it's gonna happen. We last season, of course, reversed the fixtures where we won at their house with a Johnny Fortune goal, and then they won at our house. And we unfortunately have not been able to do that this season. But let's get Mark Nichols in here. New fan reactions thing in there too as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But yeah, we also have some shouts out to our Patreon fam that we need to give as well. But Mark, first, give us some overall of your thoughts.
I guess my main reaction from an Atlanta United perspective was that the match was just kind of boring. Like we didn't create much, you know. And even like the shots, a lot of the shots I felt like we did create, they were from difficult angles. You know, it's block shots, that kind of thing. Like what you would consider, I think, half chances, right? And so towards the end of the match, you know, they posted the little momentum bar that's kind of become a fixture in soccer box scores. But you know, on our end, it was like some hills, you know, and I think that actually is a fair reflection of the match where there were moments we had control, but we never felt dangerous. And those goals, mm-mm-mm. Like we look, we saw the lineup. It's a makeshift defense, right? You've got a kid at one fullback, you've got a center back at the other fullback. I know, like in the match itself, it wasn't necessarily a four at the back, but still, not the ideal back line. So I think that, and I, I I'm obviously optimistic about this season, but I've gone into this knowing that it will take the team some time to gel. So like that end of it, I'm not necessarily surprised. It's just a disappointing performance and one you just kind of want to forget about as quickly as you can. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Mhm. Right. Yeah. Right.
Good. Here we go. Oh, check, 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 check. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. You can hear Mark though, right? So I
Mm.
will just repeat what I said, but basically, yeah, it was a nothing burger type of game, and very much so that yeah, I can't remember a chance that really got me out of my seat, except for having to actually get out of my seat at Brewhouse because yes, the shadows were kind of affecting some of it, where you can't always see maybe top parts of the screen. But either way, yeah, yeah. Appreciate you guys for letting us know that we you couldn't hear me. But there we go. Thank you, everybody. We can hear you now. You guys are lovely. You guys are amazing. Um, but yeah, so Mark, as far as okay, yeah, the other bit that I was saying was about the start of this season, essentially not really being something that is going to be too much of a big worry. I mean, we lost against Houston Dynamo 4-0 in the 2018 championship season. So, I mean, this isn't sending alarm bells, but we also, yeah, well, we lost 4-0 with our actual defense in that game. This one, very much so as makeshift as it comes. So,
Right.
as you were saying, a center back at left back, Matthew Edwards, who did pretty well, in the first half against Zaha. But yeah, ultimately, this is hopefully just something that they brush under the rug on their way to breaking the away wins record this season with more than 10 wins. Hopefully that's the
Hmm.
case. But yeah, let us know in the chat, guys, how you guys are feeling. Yes, the defense is the topic of conversation because, I mean, that first goal,
Oh.
just, yeah, that cannot happen. The ball cannot bounce. That's like kind of schoolboy stuff. But yeah, it's that. It's the everyone's running backwards. They're they're not in position. They're not in position to close down.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was too easy almost. Like two counters are really all they needed because the other chances, uh, I mean, I, I can't really count that many. Like that field tilt, like you were saying. Like yeah, they had that big peak, and then like a couple tiny other peaks, but that was it. It was
Yeah.
largely just a lot of listless possession against us, or for us against them. But let's see. Mavery and his cuisine. What a name there. Don't even know what to say, fam. Just a flat performance, at least from a radio perspective. Oh, interesting. Um, Jack Dickens. Abrams should be sold so we can actually get a competent left back, right back option. Who's going to buy him? That's the problem. We can't just dump a high salary on somebody and then expect to get, somebody. Meaning back up to Pedro or Brooks. I mean, he's our backup left center back. Like we do need a player that is willing to play that role and is left footed. So, I mean, well, you have Efrain Morales, so uh, I think I would give him minutes actually, but
Yeah.
it's one of these things. Um, like he's got to earn it as well. So, nothing's given. But yeah, as far as kind of attack wise, like was there enough promise on the road that this isn't a worry, or is it a worry?
It's too early for me to use the word worry, I think. What I will say though, from one of my observations from these first two matches, and keep in mind they're both in big stadiums, right? NFL stadiums, so big fields. It feels like a lot of our attacks are almost like the entire length of the field. You know, it feels like right now a lot of our attacks are coming through like somebody carrying the ball 30 or 40 yards. And I do feel like we need to maybe figure out easier ways to create chances. Because you know, it's just one of the, like, I think eventually, like, I mean, actually, I think you kind of saw that today where Charlotte was okay, sort of sitting off, you know, letting Atlanta United come forward and then capitalizing, right? Um, and I think that other teams might maybe make note of that because especially with all the team speed we have up top, I think the instinct of most teams is to not allow the space in behind, you know, and so it's like, yeah, like I said, you know, like letting somebody pick up the ball, you know, midfield or even further than that, and then just allowing them to run, bring the ball forward. And I feel like oftentimes, and again, like the same thing last week in Montreal, I feel like oftentimes the defense is in position, and then like even after carrying the ball, it's like, okay, now we have to recycle and move the ball around and try to find. It's just a very like I don't know how sustainable that is. I feel like that's a very tiring way of playing, and maybe a little bit predictable. But like I said, it's early still, so yeah, exactly. Right. Oh yeah, real quick. Maybe not Williams and Gregerson, but maybe a Brom. Like maybe one of those two instead of a Brom. I don't know. Right. Mm, sure. Mm. It's That's an interesting suggestion. I wouldn't necessarily. I can't necessarily say I saw something from Guzan that made me want to replace him. Um, at first, I thought the second goal. I was wondering if he could be a little bit quicker, but I just said like those, you know, rebounds. I think are tough on goalkeepers, especially after they've made a save. So, um, not yet for me, but it's. I guess at Guzan's age, it could happen anytime. Right. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Hmm.
Yeah, I keep muting you or muting myself so that the feedback doesn't happen. Let me know if there's some feedback when Mark talks. Sorry, guys. Yeah, usually Michael is running the controls, so I don't get the practice to do this every single time. So bear with me, guys. Thank you so much. Yes. So yeah, as far as what I said with Josh Cohen, I'll just keep repeating myself. Unfortunately, sorry, Mark. You're gonna hear this twice.
No.
But basically, yeah, like so Josh Cohen, that question, um, that's interesting. I think that's very interesting. I don't know if I would do that. I think it's a little early yet. Braguzan is not
Yeah.
making mistakes out there. He made a good save on that second goal. He just couldn't get the rebound quick enough, like Mark was saying as well. But Wilfred Zaha just placed it very perfectly, and so that's the difference. Is that sometimes you have to tip your cap to to the fourth here. Morales is 6'4". He's not a left back. Abram is a player that's definitely is still a veteran. He's left-footed. He's a center back. We only have so many, I guess. So anyway, yeah. Again, let me know if Mark feeds back here when he's talking on my audio, but that's why I keep muting myself. But yeah,
Mm.
so it's this, the attack just not exactly where they're clicking quite yet. At home it's a little bit of a
Mm.
different story because yeah, you have that support, you have that kind of fan uh, energy to continue to make you push. The problem is, yeah, heads dropped. Heads dropped in defense when we conceded that first goal. And yeah, I mean, yeah, Lex Zone 6 says Amador and Lennon being out is no excuse for center backs losing their aerial duels. Agreed. I mean, again,
Mm.
you can't let that ball bounce. And they did.
Yeah.
And that's just not good enough. Like ultimately, like the players that are on the pitch, that are veterans, need to help the other players that are not as experienced. And I think yeah, we definitely need to see more of that. But um, it's that it's until we have our full defense, it's really a bit difficult to bash this team and this performance and all that when it is so important that build up. The defense
Yeah.
builds up the attack. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like Guzan can just lump it long every single time and we're off to the races and we're gonna score all the goals. But Connor Thompson says Guzan needs to retire. Again, I don't think the goals really were entirely his fault. I mean, yes,
I don't think it would be a fault at all.
yeah. It's like I guess he maybe could have like set up his defense better. But what can you do? Like your defense is only as good as they can be if they are makeshift. So yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, he's gonna probably be scapegoated a little bit here. But yeah, it's not really, I think, his fault. Uh, Edwards was napping on the first goal, says Taylor Kitchens. Exactly. Like it's where he got into the play late. There was a pretty delicious little layoff. So yeah, all they had to do was just finish it in the box, and that they did. But that and where's our good backup goalkeeper? Uh, you know, that's the thing. Josh Cohen not proven yet, so
Right.
it's just tough. It's tough to say that. But I mean, as far as from the attack wise, um, with Miggy, with Moranchuk, kind of pulling the strings a little bit. Do you feel like there's some promise for some future away games for us to be able to maybe not replicate this, but actually exceed it to where we're actually clinical?
Yeah, I mean, I would. I don't even know if being clinical. It's not like for talking about this match specifically. I don't know if being clinical was our issue so much. It's just we need to create more chances. So I'm curious to see what the game plan is going forward on the road. And I think that's part of what made this match interesting. Is I do feel like, especially that first half, there wasn't much action, right? Overall, there wasn't even any injury time. But like Atlanta United, for example, didn't get their first corner until what do we call it, the 36th minute, something like that.
Yep.
So I think it's that. I think that probably we need to figure out how we're going to go about creating chances, especially when I think you saw a little bit of cat and mouse from Charlotte and Atlanta, where they would take turns getting on the ball, but also sitting back. I actually think Charlotte played a near perfect match, right? Where they had the possession that they wanted to. I don't know what the overall possession numbers were, but I think they had the possession, the amount of possession that they wanted to, and in the areas that they wanted to. And then as the match went on, you saw them actually winning the ball off of Atlanta high up the pitch. That's probably what we need to replicate. I think both home and away, but certainly like when I talk about creating those easier chances, rather than having to go the length of the field and then meeting a defense that's already sitting back and set, maybe being more aggressive when we're out of possession, and that sort of like that pressing and counter pressing, right? I think that's probably the key for us if we're gonna have success on the road. But I think also too, like it's just difficult. It's particularly difficult to get results on the road when your defense isn't set. It's like the old adage of defense wins championships, and I think that's especially true when you're on the road. So I would say probably that's our biggest thing to, in terms of being a better team going forward, is being more solid at the back.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you 100% there, because it's one of those things where Charlotte last season were able to establish being a good defensive side, and that's that foundation that you need to be able to compete for cups. And we have two of our fullbacks out, and then plus another one that's a backup. It's a tall task, especially when you get beat on the wings, essentially, in this match a little bit, or at least by wing players. So it's one of those things that are we bashing? No, but it is definitely early on. Especially, we're gonna have a lot more tough matches coming up here. It's very much important. But let's see. Connor Thompson says, anyways, the rage will come in 6 games from now if we are bad. I mean, it could. But I don't know about rage. But I think, there will. If we lose 6 games, which God forbid, that that will be a time, but which we will discuss.
I expect some struggles, but if we're bad after 6 or 7 games, that's a problem.
Which I just can't imagine with this attack. Click was also missing from this match. I think there is an aspect of, maybe he's not defensively, what he maybe was a few years ago, or even, he's never been known as a strong defensive player, but him on the ball, like that's where we needed him to be incisive today and helping us play quicker because he makes himself available. He makes himself, you know, kind of be able to be in the spaces that the other players can find him to help us create more chances. And without him in there today, that also I think was a deterrent. But
yeah, that's I think that's the old adage in soccer, right? Let the ball do the work. I think that's probably what our attack needs a little more of is letting the ball do the work.
Exactly. Yeah, and a player like Click is just class, and it's just like if you can have a player like him do that, then it's possible that you're not, kind of struggling to even create too much in the second half. But so this is the second game in a row where Edwards was fine in the first half and then horrendous in the second half. Lex Zone 6 says. Do you have a theory why that's the case?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, so he's basically saying first half Edwards was fine, and then the second half it was horrendous.
Maybe fatigue, maybe getting found out a little bit. I think especially in this match, you saw Charlotte just have a different game plan in the second half. Because, I mean, we commented it on the first half. They didn't really go after the fullbacks in the first half. And then second half, I think you saw a quicker long balls, right? Just that I think they were more deliberate in looking for that ball over the top. And, like you mentioned before, then at that point you have the defense running backwards and it goes from there, right? So I think it's probably that, probably teams going after him a little more, especially after seeing him, understanding what his habits are. That would be my theory so far.
Right. And yeah, it's a bit of that. I think it's exactly being found out is the company of the head coach there with Dean Smith. Yeah, he's going to be able to locate where the deficiencies are and what he's seen. And if he can't, and fans can see it, then yeah, he's not doing his job then. And Dean Smith is quality. And yeah, he essentially was able to fix it. And yeah, Zaha, a little anonymous in the first half, the difference maker in the second half. It's very annoying. Next question or comment comes from Lex again. Our defensive midfielders have to be better on the ball than they have been. Can't create chances when you give the ball too easily. I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a bit of it where Bartosz Slisz, Jay Fortune, they play together. They're maybe a little similar, and I think that's the problem is that there's not enough dynamism, and that's why you have Click in there. But you also lose a little bit defensively too, so it's a little bit of a give and take. And I don't think, maybe we didn't need to be as defensive in this match, but Ronnie Deila decided to go with Fortune instead of maybe Muyumba. I mean, I don't know how you feel about Muyumba, and if he's played his way into be able to get minutes, starting minutes, but he did come on in the second half. Do you feel like he made enough of a cameo to maybe, I guess, put a bug in Daila's ear?
I didn't necessarily see anything from this particular match that would suggest that to me. But what I will say, I do expect, whoever starts at central midfield, I do expect that to be kind of fluid, right? Kind of what we saw last year, but I think that Fortune will get his chances. I think that Muyumba will get his chances. Because it's also this, right? It's a clean slate. Under the new head coach, it's a clean slate for everybody. And I think that's especially true for, some of the central midfielders you're talking about. Slisz as well, you could probably throw in there. So I'm curious to see actually what Delio wants out of his central midfielders. You know, whether it's the solidity, the recycling possession, the joining the attack, like, I'm curious.
Right. And I think it's a little bit different when Click is in because he's going to join the attack a little bit more. If it's Fortune or if it's, maybe Muyamba, I would feel like they need to be a little bit more as a kind of a box in the midfield. But yeah, we're going to be joined by Nick here. Let me fix everything real quick before we bring you on. So give me a quick second. I don't usually run the controls here, so everyone bear with me. Trying, guys. But yeah, Mark, fill us in with some more of your insight here while I do this.
No worries. I don't know, like I said, like it was just kind of a dud of a match. I do, one thing I wonder, because this is a weird kickoff time. Was it too early? Like were they still waking up? Because it kind of felt like that, right? Especially the attack. But let's see. I'm trying to think of anybody who in LA United colors who had a good game. Like, what did did anybody stand out positively? I mean, Latte Lath, obviously his quickness, like that's always that's a given, right? One thing I'm curious about actually, and they kind of talked about this on the broadcast, but so Amin Ron, his last season with Atlanta United, he actually led the team in shots. And what I thought was interesting about that, because I remember that, but I also remember like he went through like a kind of a goal drought while he was here. I think it was like a 2 or 3 month stretch where he didn't score. And I'm curious as to, what will he be able to provide in terms of goal contributions? Has he developed a goal scoring instinct? That's I think that's what I'm curious about with Almiron. I mean, like obviously he's a good player, but does he have that goal scoring instinct? Will he be able to chip in with those goals?
I mean, if you
find it's a good question. It really is a good question. And Nick, I'm trying to get you on here as soon as I can actually figure out the thing here. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Boom. Okay. Lovely. All right. Almost there. There's a little black on the side of it. I'm trying to make this look as good as possible. Ay, caramba.
And that's the way we became. No, sorry.
Yeah. Oh dear. Here we go. Okay, so bringing it in. Hopefully it works. Hey, we have faces.
Yay! Hello from Charlotte.
Yeah. Anyway, so you're on the bus. Let us know what the mood is like. What's the vibe right now?
We are deflated, defeated. I tell you, it is somber mood. But we're holding our heads up, and we had a lot of hate walking back towards the bus. A lot of hate from fans in bars trying to shout at us that we're losers and whatever. Talk about classless. And we shouted right back. I shouted right back and said, "Hey, take me to your trophy case, please."
Exactly. All you got to do is show them that star above the crest.
Yes. This one right here. And we started chanting him, and it said, what was it we were chanting him? I forgot already. You have no stars. You have no stars.
Exactly. I love it. Because that's the truth. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about trophies. And, wait, Nick, you're a Tottenham fan, right?
I'm not a fan of anyone in the Prem.
Okay,
so,
great.
I'm totally neutral.
Fantastic. So, anyway, so Tottenham. So Tottenham, classic team that likes to rag on other teams when they don't win anything. And Charlotte are that team that, yeah, okay, yeah, you beat us today with our makeshift defense. And you ragged on some supporters that made the trip. That's, I mean, how many by your count were in the stadium?
We were, okay, now there's a whole story on top of this that I need to preface this with. When we did our march from here over to the stadium, they took us around the other side of the stadium, then through the stadium, then up, way up to the 500s on ramps. They were intentionally trying to wear us out before they got us way up into the nosebleeds on the upper deck. And we were in the top rows of section 510. And I was wore out by the time. I was like on row 24 up there. And there's like probably 30 rows, 32 rows.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's steep too. Steep.
Yeah. I think it's this. I think it spells out that next time when Charlotte comes in town, not only are the fans, but the team, they'll probably maybe experience some fireworks next to their hotel room. You know, maybe some I don't know what else, noisemakers, those little like things that you throw on the ground, like whatever makes noise. People should be doing that. Otherwise,
I'll take MLS hooliganism for $100.
Exactly. Let's let's make sure we're doing our job. But yeah, you know, so yeah, the vibe isn't good. That's expected. But yeah, how'd you find the match?
I agree with. Pass this back, please. I'm have candy being handed back. This is what the bus is, you know. There's a big cooler of drinks up front, beer included, of course. Bring your own beverage, whatever. But I agree with what Weiss said. I scrolled through the chat, the match day chat after the match. He said we lost that in the first half, and I agree. We did not press hard enough in the first half. But in my observation, and this is more apparent in person than you saw on television, the wind was a factor. The wind was a factor. Those flags were flying towards us, and if you were to give you an idea of where we are in the stadium, where we were in the stadium, if you're watching, we were top left to your perspective on camera. The wind was blowing in that direction. And there were quite a number of balls where the wind caught and altered trajectory. And that went both ways. But it seemed like anytime we hit the ball, there was a gust of wind. Not every time, but sometimes. I'm not going to totally blame it on that.
Yeah. Do you feel like it affected the first goal, where they misjudged the bounce and essentially, led to that diabolical goal that we conceded?
The defense was, I got to watch my language. There are children present. The defense was crap.
Yeah.
Utter crap. We were decimated going in anyway. I mean, it's not like anybody is surprised here.
It's true.
We've got to get people back and fast.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we
Hey,
need.
Amador, where are you?
We need some steroid injections, legal ones, into the players, because holy crap, yeah, it is dire, and we're only second game into the season. We've lost 3 fullbacks. Like, what can you do? What can you do at this point? Like Mark,
I will say this about their fans as well, is that their fans were starting to leave as stoppage time was beginning, especially in the upper rows. And we like, what are you leaving for? Your fans don't leave like that.
Yeah, you enjoy the win. And, I mean, yeah, that's
yeah.
I guess they have places to go. They're like, oh, it's a done deal. Which, okay, sure, yeah, if you want to like flex like that, but it also means that you guys are plastic. But
honestly, I wouldn't even go as far to give them that much credit. Those are probably people just trying to beat the traffic. Which, like, I mean, okay, that's fine, but that screams casual. I'm sorry.
Yep. Which is fine. Casual
And
fans, we
were a couple.
need them, but it is, yeah, you know. But yeah, let's get into the chat a little bit. Let's see some things to catch up on. So, where were we at? Lexzone 6. He also said, Emmanuel Gaspar, the effort from Saba is there. I think the goals will come soon. Yeah, I mean it's definitely. I think that's the case, but yeah, I mean I think the whole attack really didn't click. No pun intended. It was just not the night for them or the day. But
The Speaking of Saba, I'm reminded of that one chance where, and I mentioned this to you at the bar, AJ. Like he cut in when I felt like he could have gone to the touchline, and I just wonder if they were just a bit the attack overall was just a bit predictable today, because I do feel like. Yeah, I don't know if, like, for example, if the attack really utilized the width like they could have. But it's also, like, I think that's where you miss your fullbacks, right? Your natural fullbacks anyway, right? So I think the team was actually a bit hamstrung. Like, I don't want to make too many excuses, but I do think that there were enough missing players that it affected their tactics overall.
Yeah, I mean it's Ronnie Dylo wants to be able to play with high flying fullbacks, and Edwards isn't quite that yet. He's still learning the tricks of the trade, and there were some moments that he got ahead because that was the kind of talk after the match was that I wanted Edwards to be higher at times to join in to be able to put some balls in from wide, and that's where Brooks Lennon does excel, is that he can create from wide. Whether they are actually good chances or not, that's another story. But the fact is, he is creating chances from wide. But thoughts on that, Nick?
Here's an idea: maybe don't play him. Maybe just don't play him. Try somebody else.
But who else do we have as far as fullbacks?
That's a good question.
Yeah, there literally isn't. I mean, so that's why I think you saw him hooked a little bit, and a Johnny Fortune.
Right.
He didn't really have much to do really at that point, but he was, I think, trying to put some balls in. He was, I think, trying to shut down Zaha as much as he could, and it looked a little bit better. I think Fortune's probably just more experienced and wily to a degree. But as far as asking him to go the full 90 at fullback, he's not going to be as dynamic as a true fullback, unfortunately. But let's see. Yeah, and that was in response to the Emmanuel Gaspar comment that Saba needs to get back in his game, pass and his game. Yeah, back on his game, past and this game has not been good for him. But okay, and then Lexzone 6 says Muyamba on paper was supposed to give us a little bit of what Nagby brought with his ball skills. I don't know what happened to him. Sort of.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was a little bit more penned as a oh my god. He's your former Chelsea player.
Conte?
Conte, there we go. N'Golo Conte.
Oh, I mean, he's a real poor-man's Conte right now. So
exactly, and he's not even really doing the defensive work. Yeah, he got that yellow for really, like, probably a very late tackle that's like orangish. But
right.
Yeah, Nick, as far as what you're seeing from the attack, is there some promise for you so that's maybe this game isn't completely just a nothing game?
Well, when we had possession, comment intended there. The pieces are there, but in the second half, it got really, really resembling last season again. And I made the comment at one point, this is like last season all over again. I'm like, they're putting the ball around, touching. Not, I'm like, somebody shoot the thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it
It
was
was
that.
annoying.
It's a little bit of as well when we're in the box, we're not clinical, and I mean, yeah, it's. I think this is what we're going to see against us a lot more is teams sit back because they know they can't give us space. Because when they give us space in behind, we're going to torch them. But we saw a lot quieter of a game
Yep.
for Latte Lat. We also saw a pretty quiet game from Miggy in a sense. I mean, he was trying to, make things happen. Not as much, unfortunately. It was, a bit difficult for him.
I saw Lolly Lap constantly double teamed.
Yeah.
They were afraid to let him open.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just smart coaching.
Frankly, I don't blame them. That's the way. If I were defending against us, that'd probably be what I would do too.
Yeah. You take your chances. Yeah. With Miggy, you take your chances with Moranchuk, you take your chances with Saba after that performance in the first match of the season. That's just smart coaching. And, if they didn't do that, I would be surprised. I would be, that was the thing, is they didn't really attack the wings in the first half, and they adjusted. So, that's just part of it, I think, is that did we have the pieces maybe from our bench to really impact the game the way we wanted to from a Ronnie Dyla perspective? I pose that to you guys.
Well, did we? Because we had Sean De Silva came on, right?
Yeah, Sean De Silva came on, Mascara, Tiare, also who else? Muyamba. Yeah, so it's like, those are starters in the past in a sense, except for Tiare, who, started a lot of games, but clearly not the out and out starter.
A starter, right?
Side comment: their PA announcer did not read the pronouncer sheet on most of our names.
How dare they?
That's kind of a bad look.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, it's like those are guys that should be able to impact the game, right? But I think the fact is, even with fresh legs, you're still facing a low block, and those aren't necessarily players that can break down a low block. I mean,
I think the theory of bringing those players on against tired legs, like, the starters have to actually wear out said defense, right? And I don't think Charlotte had to do that much chasing. To be honest, like I said it before, like I think Charlotte played the match they wanted to. I think they were fairly comfortable, never really pulled out of position. So, it's like, yeah, you can do the line change, but like you said, and at that point, the game state's even worse. I mean, I think I said it from like the 70th minute. It's like, oh, they're just going to sit back now, so it's almost
in the books.
Yeah, so it's like the subs can only, like, you still want impact from the subs, but I think the game state does matter at that point as well.
100%. Yeah, Nick. Did you have further thoughts?
That was not quite the team we saw last week, but
definitely not. Night and day as far as defense.
Definitely not.
Yeah, as far as the opponent's defense, night and day.
Yeah, well, they were great. I mean, they just had the better team. They just had the better team.
Yeah.
Today they had the better team. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, we tip our cap. But go ahead. Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you, it hurts for me personally because this is my first road game in over 6 years, and it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Now, the last road game I went on was also a loss. So, I don't know. Do I deserve to go on road games? I don't think that matters.
But... no bearing, clearly, but that's very small sample size to I think draw any correlations. But yeah, don't go to a playoff game. Maybe that maybe not that.
Well,
Yeah.
well, if Orlando had not beaten Charlotte, I would have went to the game here last year had
Yeah.
it been played here. So
Mhm.
keep that in mind.
There we go. That's fair. That's fair.
But I will be going to Nashville, that's for sure, because that's a Dragon Con weekend.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where I'll be.
Right. But yeah,
But maybe we'll win that game. I don't know.
hopefully so. Hopefully so. Yeah, we definitely need to play a lot better than this on the road this season. But again, it's the first away match of the season, so it is what that is. But yeah, Nick, we'll let you go here. Let us have your final thoughts.
A long bus ride home for us tonight.
Yeah.
We'll keep our heads and scars held high for the Red Bulls next week. Yeah.
Indeed.
I don't know what they're up to, what they're like, but we've got to play better. We've got to play better. We've got to support for all 90 minutes, and everyone, please show up. Because win or lose, we need y'all. We need y'all. We need your energy. We need everything.
For sure.
Mhm.
Indeed. Well, hopefully you guys can find some joy. Maybe hit up a Buc-ee's along the way or something, and get some of that tasty beef jerky. But
No, my husband Greg. He got a migraine from eating too many beaver nuggets one time on a trip to Seville. So I've sworn myself off of those.
I'm sure you'll find other things. There's so many things in there. It's a haven for snacks, and very dangerous snacks at that. But anyway, Nick, thank you so much. Pleasure as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Pleasure, fellas.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. Well, let's. We're at an hour. Get your comments in. We'll kind of wrap it up a little bit since this was not the best match to begin with, so we won't dwell on it too long. We'll hope you hope you enjoy your Saturdays as well with that. But Lexzone6 says they got to come back here, and we're healthy, and if we're healthy, we're putting belt to ass. I like that. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the final boss to Cody Rhodes, Mama Rhodes. Okay. I like it. But anyway, yes. So yeah, let's see. Let me adjust Mark real quick too. Boom. Yeah. I mean, Mark, final thoughts on this match?
It's one to forget. We've kind of talked about the circumstances, and you know what? Like I said coming into the season that I was gonna be patient. I knew things would take a time to gel, and then you add in the injuries we have in defense. You know what, man? It happens. Hopefully they play better next week, especially at home.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. On that, and to build on that, is basically the energy is palpable around the team for sure.
Yeah.
They're
Yes.
just going to Brewhouse. It was packed.
Yeah.
Just trying to park. It was like, oh, okay, the word's out. All right.
Yeah.
Idris Elba has done his job. So, yeah, it's that. It's like the team just has to capitalize on this energy, on this hype, and also be healthy. So that's probably point number one. But we'll be playing Red Bulls next match at the Benz. So there will be, I think, hopefully, this is the thing. It's still the Red Bulls, but hopefully it's a different story. So hopefully it's just a little bit better in terms of how we've played them in past years. But yeah, I think that is pretty much all your comments. So, or that, yeah, that is it. So, guys, we appreciate you guys watching. Sign up for the Patreon. There's a bunch of very fun things going on very soon there. Go get yourself a Sweetwater Rowdy Peach IPA. We just announced a sponsorship with them. So, guys, help support the channel through supporting them. and also spamming their comments on social media that you guys love Rowdy Peach IPA. But also, as well, we dropped the Latte Lat high octane shirts and merch. So definitely get in there as well. There's some tumblers, which are very apropos for a Latte Lat. So, you know, all that. Do all that. Support the channel. You guys are amazing for sticking around after this type of match. So we appreciate you. But yeah, we're gonna sign out. For Mark, I'm AJ. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.